Greeting lecturers and hello everyone. We are Group 2 from class E3.6. So today we're going to present our research, which the research topic is the causes and consequences of school workload from Year 3 student of DOE at IFL. Our team got 3 members. My name is Nilekana. The other 2 members are Miss Wan Watana and Miss Lun Suklain. This is the content that we're going to cover today. There are 6 main points. The first one is introduction, second one is literature review, third one is research methodology, fourth, results, fifth, discussion, and last but not least, conclusion. Without further ado, let's go through the chapter 1 of this research introduction. The first main point in this chapter is 1.1, background of the study. During the years in university, students often feel pressure due to the assigned tasks and the assignments that were given by their lecturers in the class. And to put in simple terms, those tasks could be considered as workload, which students have to bear and complete before the due date as a requirement by their lecturers or the courses that they took. And the problem caused by workload have been seen as a common problem that have found in most students who are progressed toward their higher year in college, and especially those who are in year 3 or year 4. And not only because of the due date, because of the assignment or the assigned tasks, other factors could also be found that cause students to have workload. It is also believed that the approach of learning, time management, environment, and the performance have a big impact on the academic outcome of the student. And others also raise that being one of the members in higher education field, too much workload could cause students to have such as psychological issues or the problem in their performance. Therefore, we have come up with our research objective, which aim to find the causes and the consequences of school workload that the students have received by focusing especially on the third-year student at the Department of English of IFL, as we believe that it is one of the most critical year that the students have to decide which major they have to study in their senior year. So here are our research questions. The first question is, what are the causes of school workload? The second one is, what are the consequences of school workload? This research has 3 main significance. The first one is to contribute student outgrowth from school workload. Second one is to share the student difficulty due to school workload they have got from different courses. And the third one is to reach the effectiveness of learning goal for both student and the lecturers. Moving on to chapter 2, literature review. So, theoretical framework of this research is the theory of continuism, which focuses on how student perceptions and thought or situations could influence their emotion and their behavior. And also, the conceptual framework of this research, as we truly study this topic, so our group have developed a conceptual framework which highlight the element that the school workload could cause from different causes, and also school workload could lead to different consequences that the student might experience the positive consequences and the negative consequences. So here are the previous study that have found by other researchers, such as by McKean Mitchell 2000, that have found that 249 undergraduate students were reported to have emotional and cognitive reaction to stress due to the external pressure and self-imposed expectations. And the other study by Raham and in 2016 have found that among 141 biological science undergraduates in Kuala Lumpur have conducted to find the relation between stress and academic workload, such as credit hours, assignments, and the studies hours. And that in this study they have found that the academic workload have a weak relationship with the stress, and so the other personal factors such as personal problem, financial problems, and college activities will also have a correlation to stress. And there are also other studies that have found that the female students have experienced stress and in their academic life than male students related to school workload. And also a coping strategy were introduced by other researchers that they have found, which correlating to school workload too. Moving on to chapter 3, research methodology. As one of the requirements in research methodology, our team has selected Institute of Foreign Languages as our main location to our research study, and the junior students who are studying in the Department of English are being selected. And moving on to the research design, a quantitative approach will be conducted in the study to find out the objective of our research, and due to the dependent variable of the study which is needed to have measure the levels and the number, a quantitative research approach will be used to examine those variables. And in addition, the research design that based to our study is the cross-sectional design, which is also known as one-shot or status study that is best suited to study and to finding out the prevalence or of a phenomenon, situation, problem, attitude, or issue. And moreover, our research will take the online questionnaire to use to reach our participants. For the research instrument, our team has concluded to use the online survey, which the online platform that we chose is Google Form. And this online survey could be considered as cost-effective and time-saving, and also due to the pandemic, so it is the best choice to conduct our research. And by using the online survey or the online questionnaire, we have to get the link of our questionnaire and send it to the class representative, and by different platform, by different social platforms such as Telegram or Messenger, and then the class representative will deliver our questionnaire to their class. And those class we have selected by characterize them in three main points that we have chose for the research sampling. The first one is they are studying in the academic year of 2020 and 21. Second characteristic is they are studying in the Institute of Foreign Languages at Royal University of Phnom Penh. And the third one is they are third year students from all shift in the Department of English. Moving on to the next point is data collection procedures. So our group intended to use an online questionnaire as the procedure to collect our data from 140 year 3 students from the Department of English at IFL. And we created a questionnaire by using Google Form tool, and the questionnaire will be sent to the selected classes through the class monitor or the class representative. And the voluntary respondents will be answered anonymously, and they took around 10 minutes to complete our questionnaire. After getting 140 response from our respondents, we close our response, and then we get the data from the Google Form, and we interpret it by using some tools such as Google, SPS and Excel. And after that we got the result, and the result of our study will be present in the next chapter, chapter 4. And moving on to the last point of our chapter 3, the limitation of the study. So there are two main limitation in this study. The first one is we unable to explore in the in-depth information of the student regarding their challenges and experiences towards school workload, since we only use the approach that we used in this study is the quantitative approach. So we only get a brief information from them. And the second limitation of this study is we only focused on the causes and the consequences of the student regarding their school workload, without including some external factors such as family, occupation, the relationship that they have, which they think that it related to school workload. So this has come to the end of my point. The next point will be presented by Ms. Wan Vatana.
Hello everyone, my name is Watana. I'm responsible for Chapter 4. This chapter reports the results of the data collection by using E3.6, which were conducted from a third-year student in the Department of English. The commencing of this analysis has main results, which include causes of school workload, positive consequences of school workload, and negative consequences of school workload. Each table that I'm going to show explains the causes and consequences of school workload and answer the research question that were raised in the beginning of the current study. 4.1 Demographic of the respondents. In this part, the table describes about the respondents' identical characteristics and whether they have experienced school workload or not. As shown in table 4.1, it focuses on the experience of a college student in the Department of English in third year regarding the causes and consequences of the school workload. The survey received responses in the total number of 140 participants, which include 65% of female, 34.3% of male, and one respondent prefer not to reveal their gender. The respondents are from 16 classes in 3 different shifts. About 62.9% said that they are studying 2 degrees, and another 36.4% said that they are studying 1 degree, and another 0.7% are studying more than 2 degrees. Almost all participants admitted that they have experienced school workload, which is about 97.9%, and only 2.1% they did not experience school workload. 4.2 Causes of school workload. In this section, the table shows about the causes that made respondents have an excessive amount of schoolwork. As displayed in table 4.2, students find it hard to finish the assigned task when it is too difficult to do. That is strongly agreed by 52.9% of other students, followed by 53.6% of other students said that when they are going to enter the next academic year, they find it more and more challenging. About 45% of the respondents said that lack of time management also made them experience school workload even more. Also, 43.6% of the respondents agreed that when they don't understand the task given by the lecturer, they find it more pressure and stress and perceive it as workload. Moreover, around 50.7% of the respondents said that it is also a school workload when their lecturer assigns too many tasks for them to do at the same time. About 45% of the respondents agreed that bad learning outcome also led to the perception of high school workload as well. Also, 44.3% of the respondents said that the small amount of time for doing the assigned tasks also led them to have a school workload as well. Followed to a lack of motivation, the deadline of the assignment on the same week that put by lecturer and learning environment are the causes of a school workload, which the percentage are 41.4%, 40%, and 37.9%. 4.3 Consequences of school workload. This table obtained 2 statements regarding the respondents' perception of school workload. Every respondent forced us to choose either of the 2 statements. In table 4.3, we can see that around 48.6% of the respondents think that it is good to receive school workload. However, about 51.4% of the respondents think that receiving school workload is bad. 4.3.1 Positive consequences of receiving school workload. This section pointed out 4 statements of the consequences of receiving school workload, in which each of these statements is believed to have positive effect on the respondents. Also, the voluntary respondents who answer receiving school workload is good, as shown in table 4.3, were encouraged to pick the stated positive consequences, and they could further answer on the provided written space if they had experienced other positive consequences. The results in the table 4.3.1 show the positive consequences of receiving school workload from 68 respondents. Among them, 45.7% agreed that receiving school workload helped them to get familiar with the lesson and exercise. In addition, 42.1% of them believe that these are the way to improve their study and get more knowledge when they receive a school workload. Moreover, around 38.6% of them reveal that receiving school workload help them in their study performance. Some respondents also expressed that receiving school workload help honing their skill to work under pressure and learn how to manage time better. 4.3.2 Negative consequences of receiving school workload. This table pointed out three statements of the consequences of receiving school workload, in which each of these statements is believed to have negative effects on the respondents. Those who answer receiving school workload is bad, as shown in table 4.3, were asked to choose their stated negative consequences. In addition, the respondents were able to write more about other negative consequences over the stated points. As we can see in table 4.3.2, it showed the negative consequences of receiving school workload from the respondent who believe that receiving school workload is bad for them in many ways. The majority of the respondents, 48.6%, said that receiving school workload could lead them to stress, anxiety, and so on. Moreover, getting such a workload, it could affect their study performance and outcome. That was confirmed by 42.1%. It was also said that 28.6% of them could not complete the task on time when they have school workload. Besides, a few respondents said that receiving school workload could fracture their relationship with friends or teammates. In addition to this, they emphasized that lack of motivation to study, distraction which they cannot focus on doing one thing effectively and efficiently and have no free time. 4.3.3 Receiving school workload lead to stress. There are two statements whether school workload actually lead to stress or not. Every respondent was asked to choose one between two of them. As shown in table 4.3.3, the majority of the respondents, 95.7%, said that receiving school workload actually lead to stress. Meanwhile, only 4.3% of the respondents shared that they are not stressed as a result of obtaining school workload. 4.3.4 Students' reasons for stress due to receiving school workload. Table 4.3.4 listed 4 reasons for stress due to obtaining school workload. Every respondent was asked to choose the statements that are best for them regarding stress, and all respondents can choose more than one. As we can see in table 4.3.4, roughly 64.3% of the respondents reported that students' reason for stress is because the assigned tasks are difficult to do. Meanwhile, the rest of the percentage was not supported by this reason. Similarly, about 67.1% of them revealed that lack of time management is one of the reasons for stress of receiving school workload. Moreover, approximately 80% of the respondents stated that because the amount of assigned tasks are excessive, that's why they become stressed. Some respondents also indicated the reasons of their stress, which come from loss of motivation, not having enough support, no time for themselves and self-review, and many free riders when they do group work. Now it is the end of my presentation. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Lane to present the rest of our research study. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Fatana, for a very good explanation about our research result. So in this part, I'm going to continue with discussion of our research result. And we have separated into two parts with that, which are, first of all, the cause of school workload, and secondly, it's about consequences of school workload. And first of all, we have found some studies that agree with our research papers. First of all, we have Kimber and Luong that they found that GPAs has a very little influence on the perception of workload. This means that academic achievement is one of the causes that leads to the perception of school workload. And secondly, the study by Tim, Mike, and Golden has found that student motivation, if student motivation was poor when they were faced with high workload, that means it showed their lack of motivation. And one more research that which is about they express about the lack of time management. The study by Mackenzie and Goals 2004. As students learn coping skills to deal with competing demands, students are expected to have like a high work-life balance with their school workload as well. And second point, it's about consequences of school workload. So we have about three studies here, and one of the study has disagreed with our results. So first, we have to describe the one that's agree first, obviously. First one is about the study by Ganesh et al. 2012 discovered that stress is more frequent as a result of the heavy workload, and it's the element that has effect on their performance compared to the present study has about 48.6% say that receiving workload could lead them to have stress and anxiety. And on the last study, the study by Rahim et al. 2016 have found the relationship between stress and academic workload like credit hour, assignment, and study hours. And it's found that academic workload has a weak relationship with stress. So it could be the other personal factors such as personal problem, financial problem, college activity, or also the correlation to stress rather than just workload alone. So and in this next slide, I am going to present about the conclusion of our study. The present study is conducted to find out the cause and consequences of receiving workload from the third year student in the Department of English of the Institute of Foreign Languages. The study attempts to find out statistically significant cause and consequences for both positive and negative consequences from third year student, as we believe that in year 3 is the most critical year because students have to earn the specific grade into choosing their year 4 major. And the finding of the study showed that approximately over 50% of the students strongly support that they struggle to complete their assigned tasks because they are too difficult to do when they are going to, especially when they are going to the next year, next level of the study, the task is keep getting more and more difficult. And the finding has also indicated that approximately 48% of the respondents agree that workload has also have positive impacts to them because receiving workload assists them with being more familiar with lesson and exercise, and they can be more productive and they can gain more knowledge as well as they can improve their study performance and learning outcome as well. And to conclude, it is hoped that the finding of the studies will contribute to the learning and teaching process of the student and teachers by considering the context, practice, causes, and consequences of the school workload that third year student in DOE receive during their academic from the finding. A balanced receipt of school workload will be reduced. And in this next slide is about implication. Throughout the study of the research topic, it could bring the greatest benefit to students and lecturers from respondents that could share their challenges when getting numbers of assignments from different classes. Therefore, lecturers may realize that students struggle with workload of the course. Then lecturer can discuss the issue together with the principal and other lecturers of the department. Furthermore, lecturers may reduce some tasks for the student and come up with further distinct solution and propose other ways in order to reach effective learning goals for both lecturer and student. As the result of our studies, unintended limitation, whereas deliberate suggestions are made to clarify a way and improve future research study. First, the qualitative research or mixed method approach, like both quantitative and qualitative, should be appropriately adopted as our inquiries. The future study can explore in-depth information toward causes and consequences of school workload from the respondent. Therefore, the study can provide detailed data. A larger sample size is another helpful option for post-research investigation, and the larger the sample size, the more accurate and reliable the study. And finally, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We are thankful for your presence. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. Thank you so much.